You step outside into your backyard, coffee in hand, and there it is again. That crow on the maple branch, or maybe the cardinal pair by the fence. They're not just perched, they're staring right at you, head tilted, eyes locked, unblinking. You wave. They don't fly away, they watch. And for a split second you feel it, that strange little chill. Like you just walked into a room where everyone already knows your name, but no one's talking. What if I told you they actually do know your name? Not in some cute Disney way, in a real, calculated, memory-mapping way. What if those quiet stares aren't random at all? What if your backyard birds have been running a silent observation program on you for months, maybe years, and today you're finally going to find out why? Hey, I'm glad you're here. This is Backyard Bird Mind, and if you've ever felt like the birds in your yard are paying attention, you're not imagining it. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what they're actually doing when they lock eyes with you from the tree. It's not what you think. It's quieter, smarter, and honestly, a little bit wilder. Stick with me, because by the end of this, the next time you walk outside, you'll never look at those birds the same way again. Let me tell you what happened in my own yard last autumn. Last autumn, I was out raking leaves when I noticed it. Same crow every single morning at 7:15. He'd land on the same branch of the old oak, tilt his head, and just watch me. Not hunting, not calling, just observing. I started testing him. One day I wore a bright red hat. He remembered. Next morning he showed up earlier. Another day I pretended to hide a peanut under a pot. He didn't move until I walked back inside. Then he dropped straight down and claimed it. That's when I realized these birds aren't just watching the yard. They're watching you. Here's the first revelation that changes everything. Your backyard birds can recognize individual human faces, and they remember them for years, not weeks, not months, years. A famous study from the University of Washington proved this. Professor John Marsluff and his team captured some American crows, banded them, and let them go. The birds that had been briefly held in a mask later attacked people wearing that exact same mask, even years afterward. But they ignored everyone else. They passed this knowledge to their offspring too. The hate or the trust lives on. Your birds are doing the exact same thing in your yard right now. That crow staring at you? He knows if you're the person who fills the feeder. He knows if you're the one who chased him last spring. He has filed you away in a special part of his brain, the nidapallium caudalateral, basically their version of our prefrontal cortex. That is not a metaphor. Right now, inside that small feathered head, a detailed profile of you is stored. Your face, your walk, your schedule. And here's what hits different. He's not doing it out of fear. He's doing it because you matter to his survival. You are a variable in his world worth tracking. But that was only the beginning. Because once they know who you are, they start figuring out something even more surprising. What you're about to do next. And that's where things get really interesting. They don't just recognize you. They predict you. That same crow doesn't wait for you to open the feeder anymore. He shows up 30 seconds before you even step outside. He has learned your morning rhythm. Coffee cup, screen door, slippers on the deck. He's mapped it. Researchers call this anticipatory behavior. Crows and jays in particular excel at it. They watch your patterns the way we watch traffic lights. One study from Cornell Lab of Ornithology showed that wild corvids adjust their entire daily schedule based on a single human's habits. Change your routine once and they notice within days. Change it twice and they update their internal model of you. But that was only scratching the surface. Your birds are also keeping a social ledger. They remember who is kind, who is dangerous, and who can be trusted with their family. Chickadees, for example, have distinct alarm calls for different threats. One call for a cat on the ground, another for a hawk above, and a very specific one for you if you've ever startled them. They share these calls with every bird in the neighborhood. Your reputation travels faster than gossip in a small town. Before we go deeper, you need to know one key thing about how birds actually think. Bird brains are nothing like what we used to believe. For decades, people called them bird-brained as an insult. We were wrong. First, their brains are incredibly dense. A songbird's brain has roughly twice the number of neurons per gram as a mammal's. Second, they have a structure called the pallium that works like our cerebral cortex, handling complex problem solving and memory. Third, they form long-term memories using the same hippocampal mechanisms we do, except faster and more spatial. Fourth, many species pass the mirror test for self-recognition, and some even understand cause and effect at a level that rivals young children. Fifth, their vision is sharper than ours, with 4 color receptors instead of 3, so they literally see a more vivid world. And sixth, they experience emotions through the same dopamine and serotonin pathways we do. That stare you feel? It's not blank, it's processing. Try this simple test in your own yard today. Wear the exact same hat or jacket for 3 mornings in a row while doing something predictable, like filling the feeder. On the 4th morning, change just one small thing, switch the hat color, or carry something new. Watch how quickly they react. You'll see the moment they register the change. That tiny pause, that head tilt, that's their brain updating your file. If you want to understand what your birds are really doing, thinking, and remembering, subscribe. No sponsorships, just the secret life of the birds in your backyard. Because what we've covered so far is impressive, but it's still only the surface. What they're actually doing with all that information about you, that's the part that changes how you'll walk into your yard from now on. So what does all of this actually mean for you? Those birds staring from the tree aren't just curious. They're building a relationship, a long-term, information-rich relationship with the human who controls their little corner of the world. Here's the deeper revelation that still surprises me every single time I step outside. Your backyard birds aren't watching you like strangers. They're watching you like neighbors, sometimes even like allies. Crows have been documented bringing gifts to people who consistently feed them. Shiny buttons, lost keys, small pieces of jewelry. One famous case in Seattle involved a girl who fed crows as a child. Years later, as an adult, the same crows and their descendants still recognized her and left her little treasures on her windowsill. Not random trash. Carefully chosen objects. They remember kindness. They remember threats. And they remember balance. That stare you feel when you're sitting quietly on your deck, that's not suspicion. That's evaluation. The bird is running a risk-reward calculation in real time. Is this human safe today? Will they provide food? Will they protect the nest from the neighborhood cat? Should I signal my flock that this yard is worth defending? Inside their brain, the amygdala equivalent lights up with social memory. The hippocampus replays every past interaction with you. Dopamine pathways fire when they anticipate your next move. This is not instinct. This is thought. And here's what hits you in the chest when you truly get it. You are not invisible in your own backyard. You are a central character in their daily story. The tree they sit in isn't just a perch. It's an observation post overlooking the most important large mammal in their territory. You matter to them, not in a romantic fairy tale way. In a raw, evolutionary, I need to know if this human is friend or foe way. That quiet stare carries weight because your behavior literally shapes their survival and the survival of their chicks. But there's something even more incredible. Some birds go one step further. They don't just observe you. They try to communicate with you. They adjust their calls when you're nearby. They change their flight patterns to get your attention. A few bold individuals have even been seen leading humans to injured fledglings or pointing out problems in the yard. They are not passive watchers. They are active participants in the shared space of your backyard. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The next time you feel those eyes on you from the branches, you'll understand. You're not alone out there. You never were. Your birds know you. Now the real question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? So, what should you actually do with all of this? Start today. Right now. Your backyard birds are already paying attention. It's time you started paying attention back. First, become predictable in a good way. Pick one simple daily ritual. Fill the feeder at the same time each morning. Put out a shallow dish of fresh water. Do it consistently for 2 weeks. Your birds will learn your schedule and begin to anticipate you instead of just reacting. That stare from the tree will soften into recognition. Second, use the same clothes. Seriously, wear the same jacket or hat when you're being bird-friendly. Their facial recognition is so sharp that a consistent outfit becomes your uniform of trust. Change it later if you want to test them, but start by building the association. Third, offer them choices. Put out different foods on different days. Sunflower seeds one morning, mealworms the next, unsalted peanuts the day after. Watch which birds prefer what. You'll start noticing individuals. That bold blue jay, the shy titmouse pair. They each have personalities, and you'll learn them. Fourth, listen with intention. Next time they alarm call, stop and look around. They're telling you something is wrong. A cat, a hawk, even a snake. When you respond by removing the threat, they notice. Some people have trained local crows to warn them when strangers approach the property. The crows become neighborhood watch. Fifth, give them space but stay visible. Sit quietly on your deck with no phone. Let them get used to your calm presence. Bring a book. Read out loud sometimes. Their hearing is excellent, and many species are curious about human voices. You might be surprised how close they come. And here's a beautiful one you can try this week. Leave a small, shiny object or colorful ribbon near the feeder with a peanut on top. If a crow or jay takes the peanut, replace it the next day. Many people report these birds start leaving their own gifts in return. Twigs, colorful pebbles, even lost earrings. It becomes a quiet conversation. Do these things not because you want them to like you, but because you want to know them. The relationship that forms is one of the most rewarding connections you can have with wild animals. No training, no cages, just mutual awareness. Your backyard is already a theater of intelligence. You've just been sitting in the audience. It's time to step onto the stage with them. And when you do, something shifts. The birds stop being background noise and start becoming neighbors. Real ones, with memories, with opinions, with plans. Which brings us to the final piece, the one that stays with you long after you walk back inside. And here is the final truth that changes everything. Those birds staring at you from the tree, they're not plotting. They're remembering. They're hoping. They're deciding, day after day, whether the human who shares their backyard is someone worth trusting with their future. Every quiet glance carries years of data. Every head tilt is a question. Will today be the day you prove yourself again? Will you be the steady presence they can count on when the fledglings leave the nest? When winter comes? When the hawk circles overhead? You have become part of their world in a way very few humans ever understand. Not as owner, not as visitor, as a neighbor who matters. A large, unpredictable, but potentially wonderful force in their small, vivid lives. And when you finally meet their gaze without looking away, something beautiful happens. The mild paranoia you felt at the beginning dissolves into awe because you realize you're not being watched. You're being seen. Really seen. By eyes that remember your face better than most people remember their own neighbors. By minds that have mapped your kindness and your routines into their personal history. Your backyard was never just yours. It's a shared territory, a quiet commonwealth of feathers, memory, and mutual awareness. And now you get to walk in it with new eyes. Tomorrow morning, step outside. Don't reach for your phone, just stand there for 30 quiet seconds and look up. Find those eyes in the branches. Hold the gaze. You might feel it, that small electric moment of real connection between two very different minds who have chosen, for now, to share the same small piece of earth. That feeling? That's what this channel is about. If you want to understand what your birds are really doing, thinking, and remembering, if you want to turn your ordinary backyard into a place of wonder and quiet friendship, subscribe. Hit the bell. No sponsorships, no gimmicks, just the secret life of the birds who already know your name. I'll see you in the next one. Now go outside. They're waiting.